Good afternoon, class. So hope everything is going on well. From the work that we had, the lesson we had the previous time, we looked at vitamin A, and that is retinol. Vitamin A, we said it is found in yellow, red, orange, and in dark green leafy vegetables. And we said it has quite a number of roles to play in our bodies. We said it is responsible for growth, that is in infants. It is responsible for boosting our immunity. It is responsible for in the production of mucopolysaccharides, body fluids that normally lubricate the moist membranes, like the mucus, the saliva, the tears, the synovial fluids, and then the absorption of iron. So those are some of the roles of vitamin A that we looked at in the previous lesson. So with the food sources, those are some of the examples of the food sources. Maybe you can look at them. Today we are going to look at vitamin A nutrient intake, and in this case that is the retinal activity equivalent, what an individual requires. So you have to put into mind the age of that person. For instance, infants 0 to 8 months, that is 400 to 500 micrograms. Males 9 to 13, that is 600 micrograms. Males 14 and up, that is 900 milligrams. So with the females 9 to 13, you say 600 micrograms. Females 14 and up 700. Pregnant 18 years, 750 micrograms. Pregnant 19 up to 50, that is 770 micrograms. Then we have lactating mothers, that is 18 and below, that is 1,200 grams. Lactating 19 to 50 years, that is 1,300 micrograms of vitamin A. So with the vitamin A deficiency, these are very common in children under 5 years old, especially in developing countries. Then if I'm to ask, why do you think under 5 years? And we say this vitamin is plenty in those foods that we've just looked at. And then for it is stored in the body, unlike the water-soluble vitamins. So it's because under 5 years, that's when we expect a rapid growth. So you find that they have less fats in their bodies, and in order to have vitamin A, you must have fats in order for that vitamin A to be readily absorbed in our bodies. So as you age, we are going to look at women and men after probably 19 years, who of the two needs more of this vitamin A, and it will entirely rely on the amount of fats we have in our bodies. One of the deficiencies, that is night blindness, ocular, but this is reversible in infants. Then if it is not treated, then the cornea will end up becoming rough, and then keratinization will come in, that is cracking of the cornea, to end up cracking, and then xerophthalmia will happen. So it will lead to xerophthalmia if the night blindness is not handled properly. That is complete blindness, and it becomes irreversible. So the moment you start identifying someone or yourself that probably were not seeing at night, then you need to handle it very, very fast before it goes into xerophthalmia. Then impaired immunity function, or decreased T cells more susceptible to infection. The T cells, normally we have to look at the T cells. These are antibody-dependent immune systems. For instance, we have the white blood cells and then the macrophages. So maybe you can find out how they work, how macrophages work. Then growth, abnormal body growth, anorexia, narrowing of cranial cavity, and then spinal cavity. With the growth, like I said at the first, one of the roles of vitamin A is growth. Why? Because in the absence of vitamin A, you end up getting deficiencies and then complications, which will hinder the body from acquiring the nutrients that are needed. and in that way it will in one or another retard growth, especially in infants. Dermatological obstruction and enlargement of hair follicles, that is pluging of hair follicles with the keratin, forming white lumps, are called hyperkarotosis. Brittle hair, as well as rough and then a dry skin. So maybe what you should know with the hair, like they are telling us that plugging of hair follicles with the keratin, forming white lumps, which are called hyperkarotosis. And normally these are skin lesions. If you have to look at that drawing, that diagram, yeah, they look like goose pimples, but they come to stay unless otherwise. You need to see a dermatologist in order to overcome such the skin lesions, distinguishable from goose bumps, because they do not go away when the skin is rubbed. So they are not goose pimples, these are skin lesions, and it's as a result of vitamin A deficiency. You need to see a dermatologist, and then you are given medication in order to overcome such a deficiency. Nervous system ataxia, that is increased cerebral spinal fluid causing headache. So this is one of the causes of headache, that is having insufficient intake of vitamin A. Then let's look at toxicity. At first, in the first lesson, I remember I talked about hypervitaminosis A, that is toxicity. Fat soluble vitamins, if you have them in excess, they may lead to toxicity, and especially vitamin A and D. So you must have just minimal amounts that are needed in the body. Otherwise, if they exceed a certain level, we've looked at the retinol equivalent activity. So if that level is exceeded, then the chances of you getting this toxicity are very many. And once you have toxicity, it will lead to the breakdown of red blood cells, nosebleeds, rashes, and then dry skin. That is lysis, a breakdown of the red blood cells. Then nausea, vomiting, and then vertigo. With the nausea, that is the feeling. You feel as if you want to vomit, and it normally happens in the morning. So once you realize that, just get not vitamin A is insufficient. Then, you have a lot of vitamin A. Then vomiting. So it is two-way. You may have insufficient vitamin A, and then it brings about nausea. And then still having a lot, it also brings about nausea. But then there's also vomiting, and then vertigo. You are not stable on ground. Vertigo. You are not stable on ground. You may find yourself falling. So that is having a lot of vitamin A. Then you have bone, increased activity of osteoclasts, that will lead to calcium causing reduced bone density. So having a lot of vitamin A, remember vitamin A in one or another, it is also important in the development of bones and teeth. That is, it is responsible for the withdrawal of calcium from where it is stored in the bones, so that they are used up. So having a lot of this, then you have quite a lot of vitamin A depleted from the reserves, resulting into what you may refer to as fractures. So the bones will remain porous, brittle, and they can easily break. Then liver damage, which may lead into liver cirrhosis. Remember I said vitamin A is stored in the liver. So we need to have just enough of it to avoid overstraining our liver. Brain, elevated pressure in the brain, headache, mimicking brain tumor, neurological symptoms, irritability, all this. Remember we looked at the brain, and then within the brain we have body fluids. These fluids is as a result of vitamin A being present that they will be synthesized, and once you have quite a number of them, there is a way how they increase, they elevate the pressure of the brain, leading into headache. Then blood vision, when you can't see properly, you are looking at an object, but you are seeing probably multiple images. Then blood vision, then hair loss. You may find yourself losing your hair. High vitamin A during pregnancy can cause brain damage, cleft palate, and other birth defects. Cleft palate is a birth defect. A baby is born with lips separated, and this can be put right after an operation, but still they don't look good. good. So you should avoid this from happening. And this is the same reason as to why these days when women go for antenatal care, these days they are not given vitamin A, but some years back they were given vitamin A supplements. But this time around they are not given vitamin A, and what they are given it is folic acid and iron. Why? Vitamin A at times becomes toxic in their bodies, which affects the mother and then the growing fetus. Then high dietary levels of beta carotene, that is hyperkarotenemia, are not toxic but can cause the palms to be yellow, the feet to be yellow, especially in infancy. So, and what you should know with the beta carotene, it is one of the precursors of vitamin A. For it doesn't need vitamin E to be converted to an active form of vitamin A, which is retinol. So once you enjoy the food that is rich in beta carotene, the system will just take up the beta carotene and then it converts it inside the body. So it is that beta carotene which is yellow in appearance that makes the palms to look yellow. And then most of the local birds, the chicken that we enjoy, the local breed, so they normally their legs, even the fat, even some of the fat from the animals, once you slaughter and you realize that they are yellow, so it's a sign that they must have had a lot of this beta carotene. So hyperkarotenemia, a condition caused by an accumulation of carotenoids in the adipose tissue, causing the skin of palms and soles of the feet to appear yellow or red. That one I've already explained. So deficiencies may also develop. Individuals with fat malabsorption disorders, deficiencies may develop when you have fat malabsorption disorders, that is steatorrhea. Steatorrhea, that is having fats in your stool. You are dilating, but there is fat within your stool, meaning most of the fat has not been absorbed. And once you don't have fats in the body, you cannot have vitamin A. So this one is also another cause for vitamin A deficiency. Then you have pancreatic disorder, maybe if you have a faulty pancreas, liver, gallbladder disease may develop deficiency. Remember the liver, that's where vitamin A is stored. And then the pancreas is also very, very important, especially in the metabolism of this important nutrient. So they may need vitamin A supplement in case you realize that you have steatorrhea, you have liver, pancreatic, gallbladder diseases. Then it's better you go for vitamin A supplements, but after the doctors advising or prescribing for you this supplement, but you should not have self medication. Then measles infection depletes liver stores of vitamin A often results in blindness. So you've heard about people who have lost their sight simply because of measles, especially when babies are still young, maybe from 1 up to 10 years. So if as it comes out, especially if the baby is not immunized, or if the person wasn't immunized, so as it comes out, it may come out via the eyes, and then you find yourself becoming blind. So we just need to take, we advise that people will find in our communities to always take their children for immunization, because it is for the good of their babies. So then serious infections and parasitic infections, that is worms in the gut, constant bleeding and diarrhea may lead to malabsorption of fat and vitamin A. So what we are looking at right now, this may also develop the deficiencies of vitamin A. Having serious infections, you have parasites, there is a lot of bleeding, or what we may refer to as hemorrhages. Then we've talked about measles, we've talked about individuals with the fat malabsorption. All these may develop into vitamin A deficiencies. When you look at that diagram, night blindness, normal vision person and vitamin A deficiency person sees headlights. You all see the headlights, because night blindness, it is the ability of somebody. For instance, when you are coming from a room of bright light, to a room of dim light, you can see where there is a lot of light, but where there is less light, you may not see. That is a night blindness. So all can see the headlights. Then in the second one, after cars passed, a normal vision person sees a wide stretch of the road. You still maintain the sight. You can easily see the lights have disappeared, but you can see. Then with the night blindness, this person cannot see. Barely say a few feet ahead and cannot see the road sign. That road signpost. If you can really see that road signpost. So somebody who's night blind cannot see that. Then people at risk for vitamin A deficiency, the malnourished infants and young children, especially the males. Remember I said females normally have a lot of fat depots and they can ably absorb vitamin A from whatever that is eaten. Then people who are unable to absorb fat or vitamin A needs to be co-absorbed with the fat. So the moment you realize that maybe your system, the system of the person, doesn't absorb vitamin A properly, then you must accompany vitamin A rich foods along with fat rich foods. Then people with cirrhosis, that is liver cirrhosis, it is a disease of the liver. The liver, once it is overstrained, it swells and it becomes painful, meaning it can no longer carry out its functions as it used to be. And it is very difficult for it to store vitamin A. Then that is the end of vitamin A. Then I will expect the questions if they are there, then you forward them. And I've left behind some questions. Name some symptoms of vitamin A deficiency. What is a provitamin? Explain the biological functions of retinol. And then why do you think males require more vitamin A than their counterparts? I've talked about that. Hope you'll be in a position to ably explain why. Have a good day.